Hey guys!
Welcome back to our channel, Plots with a Twist,
where we discuss books,
amongst other things.
And we are back. We came back, but as far as wrap up, been gone for a minute.
Wow, we really have.
Now we're back again to do our wrap up and our TBR. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so we skipped two wrap ups, 2 months.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to talk about all the books I read during those times. During that time, because
and all the books that I am so looking forward to reading coming up. So that's how this is going.
So I was on a roll. What was it? July? I was on a roll in July. I was like, boom, boom, boom. But then we had to take a little break. I was like, you know what? Let me slow it down because I don't want to come back and talking about 10,000 books. But it is what it is. So I didn't read as much in August, but I still got some books under my belt that we're going to discuss. So where do you want to start? I should start?
Yeah, you should start.
Okay. So, let me get ready.
Girl.
Because the throat's about to be dry.
Because you got so many books
right.
to talk about.
Okay, first book I read was Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany.
I'm reading that now.
Yeah, by Tiffany D. Jackson. So Asia's completing that now. So that was a book we saw everywhere last year and decided to read it last year, but we just didn't. So it rolled over into our list this year. All right, so it was about a young girl named Claudia. Her best friend Monday goes missing. She doesn't report to the first day of school, and pretty much she's the only one who notices or really seems to care, besides like maybe one of their favorite teachers. So she's doing everything she can to like get the adults in her life to really pay attention to the fact that it's very peculiar that Monday's not here. And it just goes into the ins and outs of their relationship and just some of the certain things that she kind of knows of Monday and this kind of somewhat codependent relationship they have with each other, just to overall figure out what's going on with Monday. So that in a nutshell is pretty much what it's about. Now I will say I overall kind of enjoyed it, but Claudia for me was a little annoying. You're not getting that?
Not yet. I like her.
I have to find Monday. Monday did this, so I have to do this. Like,
yeah, Monday was her girl. And they're young. I think they're young too. She's like 15 or something.
So yeah, let me see.
I feel like 15-year-olds are
yeah, well, she wasn't 15. What was she? She was 15?
Or like she was young, or maybe 14.
She was they were in 8th grade. They were 13, I think. Anywho. But yeah, Claudia was a little annoying for me. I don't know if it was because it's a young adult book and it's like young adult problems, but it just seemed like she was super invested in this girl who's showing her multiple times that she may not be as invested in her. I don't know. It was just little stuff like that popping up for me. And then, but as annoyed as I was, once it got to the end, I still found myself kind of emotionally moved. So yeah, it was one of those like, aw, I'm sorry, girl, I was judging you, like, whatever. But overall, I would say it was an enjoyable story. Not one I would highly recommend, but it's one that you could toss out there. So next, boom, check. Next one, Felix Ever After by Kacen Callender was the next book I read. So if you haven't heard of that book, that was one we tried to read during Pride Month and didn't get it until July. Yeah. So read that, started in July. I think I finished it in August. So that was about a trans boy named Felix who basically Felix Love. So it's kind of ironic that his last name is Love because he's never been in love and he really desires to be in love, just to understand what that feeling is about. He also is dealing with a lot of things within his life, trying to get into college, having someone like do this thing where they dead named him, showing his old pictures before his transition and everything at the school. So he was trying to deal with that, has a strange relationship with his mom. So Felix is dealing with a lot while in the midst of just wanting to be accepted, while he's also still questioning his identity, even though he's identifying strongly as a boy, but he's not 100% sure of that. So it was a lot of things to take in this story. I loved how it had it was a very progressive book in that you had Felix, who was a trans boy. He goes to school. His best friend was like pansexual. Like it was a lot of identity, sexual and gender identities going on in this book. So I really enjoyed the progressive nature of the book. But Felix was another one I was like, I don't know if I'm vibing with him as a main character. He had a lot of woe is me moments where it seemed like, yes, the situation he's facing is hard, but he was choosing the harder response. And it just didn't, whatever. It was one that, again, it was annoying a little bit on the journey, but once you got to the end, he was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. So yeah, it was another like young adult teenage angst. But like y'all do have feelings as a young person, so I guess I can identify. Boom. Check. Moving on. You want to throw in your one so we can have you? Go ahead.
The shade of it all. Okay, so my one book that I read that I got through during my break is The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. Did you talk about this already? Like this was in our last one?
This was one we was gonna read, but we took the break. So
yeah, so read this. This book is about the main character's name is Harriet Westaway, and she basically is like this down and out girl. She doesn't really have anybody. Her mom is dead. She gets this letter. She's owing money to these people, about to lose like, you know, all her little livelihood. And she gets a letter from these people with the last name Westaway saying that basically she's her grandmother has died and she needs to come to the funeral so she can see about a piece of inheritance. Like she might get some money, but she's like, both my grandparents dead. Like I don't know who this person is, but they're mistaken. But being down and out her luck, she's like, you know what? Let me go see because they reached out for me for
Have you been watching P-Valley?
Yes.
Get this Skrilla.
That's basically what she was like. Get this Skrilla. Let me see what they're talking about. So she goes down, and Harriet goes down and meets the family, and basically like perpetrates like she is the granddaughter or whatever. But in that, she's finding out stuff about her own mom and her own family, and basically like you know, not a who's done it because it's not like but just
nothing really.
What happened to her mom? Really, and like what is going on with this family, what's their secrets, and who's Harriet's daddy. That all comes out too. So it was a good book. I think this is like the third. Yeah, this is the third.
Or her fourth.
Did we read The Lion Game?
We have it. We haven't read it.
Okay, I don't have it.
Yes, you do, because I made you buy it at the book sale.
I don't think so. But this is the third Ruth Ware book that I've read, and you know, she's good for a mystery, good for like just a mystery, like what's going on, like trying to figure out what the deal is in the story. And I would say this book, it was good, but it wasn't my favorite. I feel like to this day The Woman in Cabin 10 is my favorite Ruth Ware book.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that one.
Really, this one? I enjoyed it, but I felt like the end dragged a little bit for me. As far as like, okay, once we figured out like what's what and who's who,
like get on with it.
Girl, yeah, like we don't need all this extra. But you know, I get it, like emotional ties and stuff, because it was emotional for Harriet. But that's my one book that I read, and I enjoyed it. And I will say I read it. I did the audio book, so I'm not even gonna act like I read this. Like read it.
You need to let go of your pride and get into these audiobooks.
I am, because
that was a hurdle I had to jump, because I too did not do audiobooks.
Not I too,
but
so yeah,
I've gotten into them,
guys. Ruth Ware.
I thought it was a solid read, but yeah, it did drag a lot.
Towards the end.
It had a lot.
The
of
middle part, I was
drag.
like, okay, boom, boom. I want to know what's going on. Like, okay, this and that. Yeah.
I think out of all the ones, only reason I say I enjoyed that one probably is the more plausible plot line.
It's more believable than
than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
So, all right, back to moi. So I said a couple of months ago that I was in the progress of finishing Six of Crows. So I went ahead, boom, knocked that out. And if I finished that, I was gonna read Cricket Kingdom, which yes, I read it. I had it on ebook, but I didn't finish it soon enough. And I was like, you know what? Let me just buy it. So I bought it, and I will say, Oh my God. It was so good. It was so good. So Crooked Kingdom is the sequel to Six of Crows. Six of Crows, just to kind of touch on it, is about this impossible heist that this motley crew comes together, led by this criminal mastermind Kaz, and to break this prisoner out from this kind of impenetrable jail. And so it goes into, I mean, this is gonna spoil the first one. They get him out. Spoiler. So it goes into the, basically, they get him out. Some, you know, alliances have shifted. Some people are being bamboozled, and just how they're trying to work their way in this new situation they're in to bamboozle back the people who bamboozled them. So that's just the best way I can say it, because it's a lot going on. But yeah, you get to catch up with all the characters you know kind of grew feelings for in the first one. Leigh Bardugo, she can give an excellent backstory. She makes you really get invested in these characters, and I just really enjoyed it. And it's like it's got the touch of that heist and that Ocean's 11 feel, where your eyes are focused on the page, but you got to realize there's some other stuff going on behind the scenes. So when this thing happened, it's like boom, ha, gotcha. So it's got a lot of like gotcha moments, or I didn't see that coming moment, which I love about books. I love books that you really don't see something coming and you would have never guessed, but it still makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. That one's another one I finished. Another one I finished was The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. Of course, y'all seen that book everywhere. Excellent book. But let me tell you why first. So first,
don't spoil it either.
I'm not going to spoil it. When have I been the person who spoils anything?
You spoiled
Six of Crows 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but I had no choice. So The Vanishing Half is about these two twin sisters. They run away around the age of I think 16, I believe. So they live in this small town in Louisiana that basically boasts about having fair-skinned black people, and because they're not those type of, you know, dark skin, whatever the connotation surrounding dark skin. Very much the conversation of colorism is brought up in this book, but and they, above anybody else in the town, can really boast about passing as a white person. So they go ahead and run away to New York. I mean, not New York. Run away to New Orleans and basically try to fend for themselves and fall apart because one decides to live a life as a white woman and the other decides to embrace, you know, or go against what her town is about and, you know, live her life as a black woman. So it's a really good book because it talks about one identity. It has a little scandal to it. It has, you know, the themes of race and just blackness and what that means to you and the things you do to either protect it or deny it. So it's like a really like scandalous but deep book because it has some moments where you're like, ooh, but it also has some food for thought. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I understand why it's gotten so much hype. Like it's really good. It's probably, I'm not gonna say the best one I read this year, but it's on par. That
conversation will be soon.
That will be had. Yeah. That will be had. But okay,
the year's almost over. Really.
And I think that's it as far as
what you read.
What I read as far as complete books. Okay. Now I do have 2 books I went back and finished. And first is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin.
I'm reading that now too.
So I think in the last wrap up I discussed this. I was saying the first like 8 hours of it for me was confusing. And here's why. So the book is about basically the city of New York is under attack by this entity, intergalactic, interdimensional, don't know what it is. But the city itself embodies itself. I thought it was 5, but it's actually 6 people, 5 boroughs, but 1 actual New York. So the 5 boroughs have to support and come together to, you know, for the one New York to gain its full strength. And yeah, and they just basically are discovering that they are the boroughs of the city and how what their borough represents is used to fight against this entity, and just basically grappling with the fact that they are responsible for protecting the city of New York. It was confusing until the end. I will say that. I'm still confused, but I will say N.K. Jemisin, her writing style is very like intriguing. I do want to get more into that. I do plan to go back and read maybe, I think, what was it, the 5th? Ooh, what's the name of her other book? She has a few series, but the one that got like all the awards, they said was better. So I think I'm gonna go that route. I will read the next one because apparently it's a series. I didn't know that. I will read them as they come out. Maybe I'll get further clarity, but yeah, I finished that. Her details were very good. They were kind of like out of nowhere sometimes too, which caused a little bit of a disconnect, but it wasn't off-putting. It wasn't to the point where I don't want to read anything about her again, because I am. The other one I finished was The Boy from the Woods by Harlen Coben. I already said it was going to be mediocre. It felt mediocre, and it ended mediocre. I'm sorry. So it's about a boy. A girl goes missing. Her classmate, she isn't actually missing, but then she goes missing again. Her other classmate goes missing, and he's like a rich guy. So they're thinking one of their classmates enlists the help of his famous lawyer grandmother and her godson, the boy from the woods, who was discovered at like a young age to be living in the woods. He doesn't remember how, whatever. But basically, they all come together, the grandmother and him and some other folks, to find this rich boy and see if it's connected to the girl's disappearance. It wasn't a lot going on. It was just, yeah, none of the stuff mattered. None of the details came together like fluidly. Like, it was just a lot of shock and awe, but not like in a good way. So I would say I said I would try another one of Harlen Coben's books, but I'm not impressed so far. It's the opposite of like The City We Became. Like, that was kind of off-putting to me. It's like very bare minimum as far as effort. Whew. And that's it. Now, oh Lord, that's it for the wrap up. Let's get into what we're going to be reading September this month.
Yeah. Oh, it is September.
All right, so Asia's gonna redeem herself. Go, what you got?
So the first one I'm talking about, since Kristin already mentioned it, is The Vanishing Half by Brit, Bennett. She already read it, gassed it up, but it was already gassed before she gassed it. So yeah, since she just talked about it, we're not talking too much about it, but this is on my list that I'm going to be reading next. I want to see what all the hype is about, and so we can come and do a review for you guys. So yeah, what you reading?
I don't have it on me, but I started it at some point.
What?
Don't remember when, but I only got through the first 2 chapters before I was due back, and I had a whole bunch of other stuff going on. But I'm going to be reading Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I got her name right this time. I think. Asia finished that one, so that's one I want to read.
And I mentioned it in the past.
And one that's been out there, so I'm going to finally check it out. So that's Americanah.
Okay, so next one I'm going to read is a classic, oldie but goodie that I have never read, but Kristin has been begging me to read. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get all these books off my nightstand that have been piling up for me to go ahead and read. And that's the Harry Potter book, in the Chamber of Secrets. Wait, Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets.
Thank you.
This is the second book in the Harry Potter installments in the Harry Potter series. So, yeah, I read the first book or whatever, and Kristin made me read it, and I enjoyed it for what it was. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna read the second book finally. So yeah, never read it. Wasn't a big Harry Potter fan, but I'm excited to go on this journey.
It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a fun one.
The Hogwarts journey. So yeah.
I mean, and yes, I will say J.K. Rowling has been problematic. A little bit.
I ain't been on social media in a while, so
she's been a little problematic lately. But they
all come out.
I already own the books, and the world. This is when I'm going to stay in the world of Harry Potter separate from the author.
Yes, you're gonna separate her.
Next one I'm going to read is Lester, a novel by Leilani, if I'm saying her name correctly. correctly. That's like a tongue twister a little bit for me. I do not know what this is about.
Oh my God, you always. You know what this is about.
I go off a hype. I don't like to be that type of person, but I fully am aware that I am. So yeah, I saw this on our timeline, kept seeing it. It came out recently. My library got it. So I went ahead and grabbed it up. Lester, we will get into that, or I will get into that this month.
Yeah, if you tell me it's good, then I might get into
it. It looks short, so.
I like the cover, so
yeah.
I'll read it.
It looks short. All right.
So next one is one that you guys have also already heard that Kristin's already read, but I'm going to read it too. So it's called They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I can't remember what this is about, but I do remember. Ooh,
I said you don't even need to go into it. If you watch our last video,
right, and I know
of
that,
our emotional books,
I know that Kristin has explained it, and she's told me what I know what it's about, but like, I'm not.
Well, that's kind of good because then you don't have any firm expectations going in.
I just know.
So that means she doesn't listen when I talk.
Two people. I do. I realized over the weekend that I have bad short-term and long-term memory. I do.
Then you have bad memory overall.
But I feel like I remember what I want to remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so They Both Die at the End. You guys have seen this book going around as well. And it's cute. I like the cover too. Okay.
All right. So next I'm going to get into Lakewood. I thought I was going to read this.
Where she seen this book around?
I have. I've seen it everywhere. I thought I was going to get into this last week, but it didn't happen. So, it's okay.
I like the cover.
I know it's about this girl. Her grandmother dies, and she ends up inheriting some family debt. And basically, she does some research with her new job in this remote town. I'm trying to read as I'm talking, but that ain't working. Right. But basically, she does some research and finds out and discovers some stuff. So, I've seen this everywhere, heard about it, heard it was a good book. So, it doesn't seem lengthy. So, I'm going to get into that this month as well. And the last one.
Last one is one we're both going to read. I'm going to do this one on audiobook because I already have it saved, and Kristin's going to read it.
So, that's Tiny Imperfections by ALLI Frank and Asha Youmans.
Oh, so joint.
Yes. So I started this probably like 2 weeks ago. Didn't finish it. A lot of things was happening. Right. And, you know, I didn't want to come having a whole bunch on wrap up, which I already did. So I took a pause. But this was one I should have finished last month, but I'm going to finish it this month. I got a ways in. It seems like one of entertaining, but not super like deep read. But I think so far it seems like something I'll enjoy. So it's about this woman. She was a black beauty model of the 90s, but her career ended, and now she's the director of admissions at this elite private school in Sacramento, I believe is the setting. I can't remember, but basically she's trying to get a grasp on her, like, she holds it down there, but her daughter is about to graduate high school, so she's trying to make sure she doesn't make her same mistakes. So trying to get a grasp on that. At the same time, everybody's been encouraging her to date, and she's not been trying to do that. But sometimes things like that are unavoidable, and that's what it gets into. A little entanglement. So yeah, Tiny Imperfections, and that's pretty much it.
So that is it. That is what we're going to be reading this month. It's a lot of variety. It's a lot going on this month, I feel like, but we're going to get through it. So I'm excited to get back on the ball. Ruth Ware got me going, so.
All right, so let us know what you guys will be reading.
Yes, for this month.
If you have any thoughts on anything I've shared as far as I read, or even the Ruth Ware book she read, you can leave the comments below. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell so you know, hey, we're ready. Come on back. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.